You ever been that kid trying to open a jar of pickles in front of the whole room, everyone watching? You got your game face on, gripping the thing like your life depends on it. You're sweating, shaking, face turning red, and nothing. Then someone else walks in, barely twists it, pop, done. Now let me ask you something real. How many times in your life did you do exactly that? Trying so hard to make something work, forcing a text reply, forcing a friendship, forcing that business idea, forcing your mind to be creative when it's clearly tired. And life just sits there like that stubborn jar, not budging. But here's where it gets wild, and I mean spiritually wild. The tighter you grip, the more life slips through your fingers like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. You think you're securing it, controlling it, containing it, but all you're doing is pushing it out. You grip the dream too tight, you choke it. You cling to the person too hard, they drift. You try to force inspiration, it hides. You try to force peace, you create war. Because pressure kills flow. And most of us, we're out here walking around like damn pressure cookers with cracked lids, stuffed full of anxiety, desire, fear, expectations, noise, wondering why nothing's landing, why nothing's working, why no door is opening, why everyone keeps saying relax, but you feel like if you stop pushing, you'll disappear. But let me tell you something no one ever taught us as kids. Life responds better to presence than pressure. And when you're operating from that please just work energy, you're not present. You're panicked. You ever try to force a conversation with someone who clearly doesn't want to talk? You smile too hard. You ask too many questions. You say something you regret and then spend 3 hours later dissecting it in your head like it's a crime scene. And for what? All because you needed the moment to work. You needed the connection. You needed the approval. You needed something from them. And that need is the poison. Let's get honest here. People can smell neediness. You don't have to say a word. They'll pick it up in your tone, in your posture, in your vibe, in the way your energy folds in on itself. It's the spiritual equivalent of cling wrap. You suffocate the moment, and life reads energy better than any lie detector. That I need this to happen or I'll fall apart vibe, it pushes everything away. Opportunities walk past. Love turns the other way. Peace shuts the door. Even your own mind starts avoiding you like you're the guy who over-texts at 2 a.m. with when you don't get a reply. And here's the cold part. You don't even know you're doing it because you're in it. You think you're just being motivated or persistent or focused, but what you're really doing is leaking desperation. And the world doesn't give blessings to desperate hands, not because it's cruel, but because desperation is rooted in the belief that you're not enough without that thing. And God already made you enough. See, need creates resistance. It tells the universe, I don't have. It tells people, you complete me. It tells your soul, you're not whole until this works out. The second you let go, like really let go from your chest, from your bones, when you say, hey, I'm good either way. I'd love this, but I don't need it. I'm not begging, I'm breathing. Everything changes. People lean in, opportunities unfold, your voice stops trembling, your eyes stop scanning, your soul steps forward and goes, finally, you called. So it's almost like the universe was just waiting for you to stop acting like a maniac. Because when you stop trying to force the moment, you start feeling it. When you stop gripping so hard, you start receiving. When you stop needing them to understand you, you finally understand yourself. Neediness is the tension between your current self and your imagined lack. It's a refusal to accept what is. It's an inner war between the now and the not yet. And as long as you're fighting that war, you're distracted from the magic that's already around you. You become blind to what you already have. You miss the way your friend smiled at your joke. You miss the random bird that landed beside you at the cafe. You miss the peace that was ready to sit beside you if you just shut up for 30 seconds and breathe. And let's be real, some of you are trying to force open doors that God already locked for a reason, but you're banging on them with your ego, with your fear of being forgotten, with your belief that you know better than timing. Newsflash, you don't. There's no blessing in a door you had to beg your way into. There's no peace in a relationship you guilted someone to stay in. There's no legacy in a career you hated but clung to for status. Letting go, that's not weakness. That's sacred courage. Because when you let go of control, you make space for grace. When you let go of expectations, you discover presence. When you let go of panic, you return to your power. The real ones, they don't chase. They attract. They align. They breathe deeper than the chaos. So if life feels like that stubborn jar right now, maybe it's not about gripping harder. Maybe it's about setting it down for a second, wiping your hands, taking a breath, and letting it pop on its own time. Trust the timing. Let go of the fear and stop trying to wrestle what was always meant to flow. You're not here to force life. You're here to feel it. Let me tell you something I had to learn the hard way. I once tried so hard to save something that was clearly slipping away from me. A relationship, a dream, a version of myself that I thought I needed to keep alive. And I remembered the desperation, the way I showed up more than I should have, cared louder than was healthy, worked harder than was wise, held tighter than I had strength for. I was convinced that if I just loved more, gave more, proved more, it'd be turned around, it would stay, it would heal, but it didn't. Instead, I burned out, not because I didn't care, but because I was carrying something that wasn't mine to carry. I was trying to control an outcome I was never meant to control. And you know what made it worse? I blamed myself. I thought, if I was more, maybe this wouldn't be falling apart. But now I look back and I realize I wasn't failing. I was resisting the truth. I was trying to glue back together something that had already served its purpose in my life. And it took that breakdown for me to finally understand some things aren't meant to be held. Some moments aren't meant to last. Some people aren't meant to stay. So I stopped trying to wrestle with life. I stopped overthinking every move like it was a chess game I had to win. I stopped begging the universe to give me what I thought I deserved. I stopped chasing closure from people who never gave me clarity to begin with. I just stopped. And in that stillness, I found something I'd been searching for the whole time, me. Not the me that needed approval, not the me that was addicted to fixing everything, just the quiet me, the one who existed even when things weren't perfect. And here's the twist. When I did that, when I stopped acting like life owed me something, when I dropped the panic and started living instead of performing, better things came. Not because I chased harder, but because I stopped radiating desperation. I stopped begging life to love me and started loving life back. And life noticed. It was like the universe was waiting for me to finally act like I belonged here. You ever notice this? When you're calm, things come easier. When you're not watching the clock, time flies. When you're not waiting on their reply, the phone dings. When you're not checking your bank app every day, the opportunities show up. It's not coincidence. It's alignment. It's like riding a bike. You grip the handlebars too tight and you start wobbling. Your shoulders lock up, your legs stiffen, your brain goes into hyper control mode, and boom, you fall. But when you loosen up, trust your body, trust your rhythm, you glide, you feel the wind again. You're not just moving, you're flying. That's life. It's not mechanical, it's musical. It's not about controlling every beat, it's about dancing in rhythm. And if you don't learn to move with the music, you'll always feel like the song is playing against you. You ever look at someone and think, why is life so easy for them? It's not that they're lucky. It's not that they're smarter. It's that they stopped fighting the current. They stopped swimming against the tide of what is. They care, but they don't beg. They act, but they don't cling. They give, but they don't empty themselves to do it. And that energy, that quiet, peaceful, self-trusting energy, that's gold. Desperation is loud, Confidence is silent, and silence always wins. You want peace? Stop yelling at life to give it to you. Walk in peace. Move in peace. Trust in peace. When you stop trying to grip life like a toddler clinging to a toy, life stops resisting you. It starts flowing with you. It starts playing with you instead of against you. Think about it. You ever forget a name or a word, and the more you try to remember it, the more your brain freezes. Then you let go, walk away, take a shower, and boom, it shows up like it was never missing. That's your whole life right there. The mind works best without tension. The heart opens best without force. The soul blooms best without judgment. Same with your dreams, same with your relationships, same with your money, same with your purpose. You want more? Be more. Not by grinding, not by pretending, by aligning. Because here's the real definition of trust. It's not sitting back and waiting. It's moving forward without panic, acting without fear, speaking without apology, loving without a leash. And the paradox of life is this: the less you need it, the more it wants you. That's not just a mindset, that's a spiritual law. When you approach life from fullness, not emptiness, from peace, not panic, from clarity, not craving, you stop chasing things and things start finding you. So the next time you catch yourself trying too hard, burning yourself out for something that's not even matching your energy, pause, ask yourself, am I holding on so tight that I'm suffocating the thing I love? Because the things that are meant for you, they don't need you to force them. They just need you to make space. Let go, let breathe, let flow. That's when life works. That's when peace returns. That's when alignment happens. Let go, not because you're giving up, but because you finally get it. Yours will never be stolen, and what isn't, no amount of effort will ever make it fit. So trust, move in silence, and let life show you what it's been holding behind its back, waiting for you to stop begging and start becoming